All right. Who is the bust of the new teams at this point? I've talked all year about Houston being so bad and how Houston needs help, and Houston is at the bottom of the barrel and they just can't put it together. And now BYU, who was the darling. BYU was the darling, right? They were supposed to be so good. And what if UCF makes a run under Gus Malzahn, who's been Power 5 before? And what if of Cincinnati, UCF, BYU, and Houston, one of these teams can go bowling? Well, now it looks like none of them will go bowling. I know there are 2 games left for Houston. Houston still has a shot. Oklahoma State and UCF. They might be favored in one of those games. For BYU, their schedule includes Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, a couple of top 25 teams. That's not good. For UCF, hey, you just got a big win, right? At Texas Tech, at home against Houston. You'd be okay to win one of those games, get bowl eligible. There's a shot you win one of those games. And then Cincinnati at 3-7, already out of bowl contention, but just coming off a 24-14 win against Houston. Brother, what? I wonder the chaos of the Big 12. How much do we factor that into these new teams struggling in their first year in league play? How these 4 new teams have not been able to put it together so far. How they have been behind the punch so far. It makes me wonder how much of this litmus test should we really take into consideration. And I think it varies. We have to go school by school to determine how we look at these 4 teams. Again, if you're just joining, I've been stupid sick for 48 hours, but had to do an emergency podcast after Cincinnati beat Houston and UCF beat Oklahoma State. While I once thought that BYU was the most ready for Big 12 competition, I viewed them very differently the last few weeks. 35-6, a loss to Texas. 37-7 to West Virginia. 45-13 to Iowa State. That, if you're keeping score at home, that is 26 points in 3 weeks. Not in one game, in 3 weeks for BYU. That is bad. At home, at night, 45-13. For UCF, kind of the opposite trajectory. 45-3 after a 2-point victory on the road against Cincinnati. 45-3 against Oklahoma State. They dominated home territory. What if they are the team of the future in the Big 12? What if that's the case? I'm impressed with what they did. Then for Cincinnati, brother, 3-7, 1-6, but you just got to win in Big 12. Your first win, everybody gets a win in Big 12 play, all the new teams. This one comes on the road against a Houston team that just won against an original Big 12 team in Baylor. 24-14 final, Bearcats on top. So now, if we think, who's the doormat? Who's the bust of the new teams? Question becomes, is it everybody? Is everybody so below average or mediocre that none of this first season matters? How much should we buy into the hype for BYU, who has the facilities, who has the brand, who has the opportunity to win down the stretch? How much should we buy into Kalani Sitake? How much? Scott Satterfield fired? Do we talk about that, right? I almost pose this question to you. How much do I value what these 4 teams have done in Big 12 play? And how much goes into next season that we then talk about it there? We decide there what matters with these 4 schools. Because right now, in the battle of the busts or the booms from the new Big 4, not only do I not know, I'm perplexed. Is BYU the team of the future? Is Cincinnati the team of the future? Is it UCF or Houston? What seemed like a BYU runaway 4 or 5 weeks ago has tightened. The gap has tightened. And I tell you what, this sickness, this cold that I have is tightened. It's a tightened cold. This has been, it always will be. I'm getting out of here. Locked On. I love talking to you guys. Hopefully I'm better by tomorrow. Thanks for making Locked On Big 12 your first listen every single day. Dose grande. Thanks, guys. Sorry.